a little iffy. We always like to begin with any questions from the last class. And this class is on embodied consciousness. I believe he was going to use the first part of the serpent power to go over it, which I don't have on me today. I just took it out this morning too. You have it on your laptop? Terry's going to go over?
What? Server bound?
No, the stuff, his diagram. I can mimic his diagram.
You started last class.
Huh?
You started it last class?
No.
When did you start?
No, it's new. I don't even know what you want it
Which one do you need? Like this one? Like body consciousness one?
Yeah, I can go from that. But if you, I mean, if you're doing that, then no, just leave it.
No, I'm doing it on my computer.
Oh, okay. Okay, in the meantime, I see some familiar faces or new faces. So if you're new, could you kindly introduce yourself? Tell us what brought you here and maybe a little bit about your metaphysical background. You were here last week with someone else, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Your name?
Marty.
Marty?
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell us a little bit about your metaphysical history?
I have none. I'm learning now.
So what brought you to this class then? If you have none, something had to draw you here.
I was in Christian metaphysics and I just wanted to learn more from there.
Oh, what school of Christian metaphysics? Gnosticism?
No. I really, it's Catholic. No.
Like a little bit of Catholic mysticism?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Augustine was into that. So you really so everything is brand new. The ideas of chakras, psychic centers, prana, all of that is brand new. Okay. Yourself?
Hi, how are you? I'm Ivy. I'm a high priestess of the Unitarian Universal Church of Fort Lauderdale, the Pagan Circle. We call it Moonpath.
So you're a Wiccan?
No, a Druid tradition.
Okay.
And I went to one of my classes and he told me about this and invited me to come. So I'm very interested in learning more.
And what is like the slant or the approach to your branch of metaphysics?
Well, it's very pantheistic, nature-based. We try to tap into the universal energies through the teachings of the trees and nature and archetypes.
So do you get into the psychic centers, prana, yoga?
Not in the way that you guys do, no.
Oh, okay. I think that's it. Everybody else has been here before. Okay, any questions from last week, from the last class? Last class was at least 2 weeks ago because half the people here went to California for Operation Commonwealth. But do you have any questions before we move on? Or I try to make a fool out of myself? You have to exclude my voice, but I had a rough week teaching. No questions? You were here the last, Marty, you were here the last time. You don't have any questions? So you was able to understand everything the first time around?
Not really.
There has to be something that's bothering you. Not yet at least? Alright. So okay, I think I spelled it right. Embodied consciousness. In metaphysics,
Close it up.
huh?
I think it's with a U. instead of I-O-I-U.
Oh, it's IOUS. Sorry, my bad.
Let's go with I-O-U.
That's why I'm a math teacher. IOUS. Consciousness. Okay, metaphysics, like most things in life, is a paradox. And it's a paradox because as we get real deep into metaphysics, which is basically where this class is as a whole, you have to understand this class is a running class. It's been running really and truly since like 1995. So it's off and on, but you know, we've been going over this since 1995. And as you get real deep and it becomes very complicated, at the same time, it kind of becomes more simple. And the simplicity is, no matter what happens, it always points back to the body. And so there will come a point in time, and this will be a good thing, and you're gonna have to kind of just bear with it, where the lessons seem the same. They're really not the same. The only difference is you're beginning to understand that everything we do in metaphysics and everything you do as far as your development in metaphysics ties back to the body and goes back to the body. And the reason being is because the body is here to reveal the spirit. You know, the body is, the physical body at least, is the body for the quote-unquote soul of man. And the soul of man, again, is the body for the spirit of man, which is really and truly the spirit of God. So, in this lesson, embodied consciousness is exactly that. The key word really is not consciousness. The key word is body. And, of course, I'm into etymology. So, consciousness is being embodied or embedded in man. And when you think about embodied consciousness, the flip side of that is what we call bodiless consciousness. It's bodiless consciousness. So, let's see. How do I begin to prepare for this? Let's see. Okay, let's start at the body. Now, if you look at the body of man, if you study the body from anybody here a medical student? Anybody have any nursing, any history with medicine? Anyone?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Well, when you look at the body, the physical body of man reveals exactly who and what you are. And if you begin and you take a look at the chart, it looks really simple, but that chart is really it's something you might see in a few books, but it actually has some extra information in there. But the most important thing you have to understand is that there is a clear defining point, and that defining point is at the throat center. Because man has two parts of himself. He has the head, which represents bodiless consciousness, and he has everything on down, beginning with the throat center, that represents body consciousness. So today we're going to go over embodied consciousness. I think yesterday we went over embodied consciousness. Now we're supposed to begin with Serpent Power. Does anybody here have the book, The Serpent Power? Has anybody read The Serpent Power?
Started it, I haven't finished it yet.
Okay, The Serpent Power is a series of books. It's probably one of the most advanced books in the world on metaphysics by Sir John Woodruff. It's red. I put mine out this morning. I don't know why. And it's red. It's called a Serpent Power, but it looks like this. It's called The Serpent Power, and has there's a picture of a man in a yoga pose. And that book is a very difficult book to read. It takes years to dissect it. But that book goes into what we call body consciousness, bodiless consciousness, and embodied consciousness. Embodied consciousness begins at the throat center. We went over the reasons why. Can anybody tell us why from the previous sessions? You should know why, even on your own level, why embodied consciousness begins at the throat. Begins at the throat center. Anyone? Ivan? Glenn?
center for manifestation. So where we manifest through speech and through sound, through vibration.
Exactly that, because at the throat center is man's faculty of speech, and man's faculty of speech is really God's way of giving him the faculty of sound. And the reason why that is important is because when you look at all of the religious texts, you know, all of creation was brought into being. Oh, this is awful. Where's the marker?
Down there.
Underneath the podium.
Underneath that.
Underneath this?
Yeah.
Was sound. I don't have a Bible, but if you look at the Bible, it says in the beginning, you know, God created the heavens and the earth. But God didn't use his hands, or did he use his eyes? The Bible is very specific about the faculty that God used to bring the heavens and earth into being. And all of creation, God spoke it. Now, it's the same way in the Hindu Bible. It's the same way in the Quran. It's the same way in our Christian Bible. All of creation, all of it, all the old, ancient creative myths, the universe is brought into being through the faculty of speech, through God's faculty of speech. So embodied consciousness, the point at which manifestation takes place, the point at which where we have what we call, try not to be careful of the words. Split. What some people call differentiation begins with sound. And the reason why that is up until that point, the universe, or reality as we know it, is one. And because reality is one, and there's no duality, then there can be no real consciousness. So consciousness begins with the split of something. This room is, I'd say, feeling kind of warm right now, usually not as cold as it is. But the idea of temperature, or the idea of heat, is produced by two extremes. The first extreme is absolute zero, absolute cold, right, where there's no life. The other extreme is, say, the temperature on the sun. Without those two extremes, we cannot experience heat. If we lived on the sun, born on the sun, and died on the sun, at the core of the sun, when the temperature is supposedly the same, then we would never know heat. Same thing if we were born in deep space. We would never know what it feels like to be cold. Why? Because there's no heat to compare it to. So the consciousness of something, the fact that you become aware of something, is only at the point of separation. And that separation begins with the sonic, sound is not the best word, but it begins with a sonic vibration. And from that sonic vibration, all of the vibrations are produced. And the sonic vibration for man, or the idea that you are able to be conscious of something, replicating the creative process of God, begins at that throat center. Huh? Yeah, go ahead.
Like you better with on or off?
Is that better or you wanna? No, leave it off. I'm saying, yeah. What? Slide. That's good enough? For who? For you. I'm done.
No, but I,
Yeah, don't ever do that to me again. You gotta give me time. Oh, come here for a minute.
I couldn't see what you were writing with the light off.
What am I in there?
Yeah.
I put sound manifestation.
No, on the camera. I couldn't see on the camera.
Oh, it doesn't show up? Yeah, when you use this, then it's hard to use the camera at all.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna have to install clean access too.
Who, me?
Nehemiah wants to get online.
He's already on. Yep.
Hey, what you doing?
He still needs to install
Hmm?
He still needs to install
That he's doing this now, so take that. But, yep. You need to click up, after you log in, you need to click up the link to install it.
The diagram you need another on your hard drive?
No, I wanted to show the, Mr. The class is one for the next week. Three books there. Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, for the next, I guess, until the end of the year, we'll be doing a class. We're gonna use a couple books, and the books are free. I put it on my website. We'll be using the Serpent Power book by Arthur Avalon. And we'll be using the Nature Final Forces by Rama Presek. And I think, what's the third book? It's on the, when we get it up, we'll see. I put several books there. It's free. It's an ebook. You can download the book. And then also at the, second to the last page on the website, there's Sanskrit dictionaries, encyclopedias in order to translate any words that you don't understand. Okay? Now today's lesson started with embodied consciousness. Any questions from the last class? I know it's been a couple of weeks. Any questions from the last class? So everybody understand, did we go over this in the last class?
I wasn't here, I don't know.
Did we go over the embodied consciousness in the last class?
Yeah, touched upon it.
Okay, so everybody kind of understand what the embodied consciousness is about? Nobody?
And kind of like a brief overview.
Huh?
A brief overview of what it is.
Okay, any challenges to the brief overview of what it is?
Nay.
Nobody? Okay, so it depends on where we want to go with it, because we can go all over the map with it, to be honest with you. Let's go it real quick. We have, I'm going to use Sanskrit and English, okay? So let's go into the book. In the Sanskrit terminology, everybody seen this, right? Shiva, right? What we translated it is, we really can't translate it, but just to give some type of clarification, you'll see it means spirit. There in the books, right? Go to the second page. Come back down.
Down?
Go here.
Class.
Okay, these are the classes. All right. And here, these are the books. We got one here. We'll have the Garden of Letters, Serpent Power, Kundalini Yoga, Nature Final Forces, and the Garden of Letters. Those, and you can download each one of those books. All right. Spirit, we define it as a divine spark of God within us. Okay. Then you have the soul, right? Now, soul is hard to define soul in the Sanskrit terminology, although they give a lot of different terminologies for it. One of the terminologies that is popular is Java, which means embodied consciousness. Okay? But actually, the soul is a combination of Naka, Shakti, right? Which is actually the body of Shiva, or spirit. Because Shiva, or spirit, is unmanifested. It's not manifested. It never departs itself from the absolute. The absolute being God. You know, a supreme being, or Brahma, or whatever you want to call it, Jehovah, whatever. But this part is never manifested. But it's always the background for everything in manifestation. Everything in manifestation is written on the canvas of Shiva, okay, or spirit. Because spirit is a divine spark of God. It is all in all, really. And the only reason why we define it as a divine spark in order to relate to it in our own limited spec of existence. Okay, so that we can have some type of reference point. Now, Java means embodied consciousness. Now, even the soul itself is above consciousness, okay? Especially consciousness as we define consciousness, all right? The soul is the thing that manifests as consciousness, all right? Now the spirit being omnipresent, all-powerful, having no beginning and no end, it brings into manifestation the soul, which is the I. If you consider the spirit would be the I am for all of us, all right? But the I am creates what is called the I, which is equals to the soul, okay? This soul moves forward and manifests everything about you, okay? Now, the spirit being at one with God or the absolute, what it does in order to move and in order to create manifestation or bring about manifestation, it has to involve a part of itself. So what does it do? It creates a vehicle in order to work through. One of the vehicles it creates in order to work through is soul, right? Now we're looking at this on a purely individual, on a purely individual level, because we can look at this on a cosmic level too. But I want to get the individual level to you before we go back to the cosmic level. We did the cosmic level a couple weeks ago, all right? So what it does, it creates the soul, and this soul takes all the elements or energy that's made available for it in the creative universe, which in Sanskrit terms we call Shakti, right? And then the Shakti is what? Anybody? What? It's all power. Okay, y'all making it look like I haven't taught you anything. Then you have the Shakti principles, right? What's another name for the Shakti principles? Anybody? What are we called?
Mahabhutas.
No. Call it
That's what Ivan said.
the karmic signatures, right? Why we call it the karmic signatures? It's on the book, it's on the paperwork, the diagrams I gave you. The karmic signatures, because why? It molds, it creates the framework in which this Shakti will work within. All right? What are those Shakti principles? Anyone look on the diagram in the very back. Those Shakti principles are mind, right? It's four of them. Prana,
Knowledge.
well, knowledge and love, right? Instead of giving you the Sanskrit terminology for it. Now these are the framework in which the Shakti principle will work within, right? To make it simple, we remove the Sanskrit terminology and look at it like this. Now, this mind, of course, is a universal mind. It's an energy, It's actually an energy. And what this mind does, it actually holds, it becomes the carrying agent or for everything, because mind does what? Mind holds matter together, whether that matter is subtle matter or gross matter. It holds it together. That's what mind does, right? And it also gives it creates the intelligent movements. It lends itself to any type of intelligent movements. Prana is absolute power. It powers everything. So you cannot have prana really without having mind on some level, okay? Because both of these are energies. All of these are energies, because everything is Shakti. Because Shakti actually came from Shiva, okay? Now, then you have the knowledge of the Shakti, or the framework in which the Shakti will work within, all right? Then you have love, which is the power that preserves everything above. It preserves all life. Okay, that's what love really is. Love is a power of preservation. If you love something, what do you do with it?
Take care
Dust
of
it off, frame it up, put it. You make sure that it doesn't go away. And you make sure no level of what they call oxidation, corrosion happen to that particular item. Even people you love, you want to keep them close to you. So it is the power of preservation. Love is the power of preservation. That's why love act the way that's why love have you to act the way it does. So these are the four principles that the ancient Tantra Sastra talked about, okay? That influences and become the karmic signatures of Shakti, right? Nata Shakti, Nata is sound. It's another word for sound that we talked about.
Vibration.
Huh?
Vibration.
Consciousness. So in the beginning, in all the Bibles around the world, it said in the beginning, God spoke the word, which was sound. And from that, all creation came about. Okay? So even in the Sanskrit terminology, even in the Vedas or Vedas or whatever you want to call it, it said the same thing, that God spoke the word. And they call the first spoken word Vak, which actually meant Nata, right? Supreme sound. And this supreme sound, when it was released from the absolute, from Brahma, what happened, it produced this thing, Shakti, this thing called Shakti. And from that, it produced, the Shakti went forth in order to bring about involution, what we was talking about earlier, of the soul. It brought about involution, and this involution brought forth the Shakti principles, which are the karmic signatures of all life, of the whole universe. Everything was framed into this. And then the Shakti moved forward and produced what someone said earlier, the Mahabhutas. All right? Everybody remember what the Mahabhutas were? It produced what is called the Mahabhutas. And the Mahabhutas is simple. We can look at it on a very basic level, and we can call it the cosmic elements, what most people call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what most writers, that's what most teachings call it. But when you go deep into the Tantra Satra means knowledge. When you go deep into the teachings, is actually, this is what it actually is. It's actually modes of vibration. Okay, that's what it actually is. It's actually modes of vibration. So when the word is released from the absolute, this sound vibration called nata moves out and begins to modify all the Shakti power that went before it. It begins to modify the Shakti power. And what it does, it creates these 5 modes of vibration, which is Akasa, right? Vaya, what is Tejas? And what is Apas? And the Ritus. Okay? Now, this is etheric sound, right? And some people just like to call it space, which really takes away from the meaning of it, right?
What,
Or
space?
either, yeah.
Yes.
So this is air. This is fire. This is water. These are the basic terms for this. And this is solids. But it's actually more than all of this. So if you want to go further, you can say, it will make it, to try to get it back to what it really is, you can say etheric air, etheric fire, or etheric water, or etheric solids, right? And then to go even further, put in there is modes of vibration of etheric air, etheric water, whatever. Because what it does, it vibrates the Shakti particles it put it in the right vibrational pattern in order to create the air, the water, the solids, and on any realm of existence, whether you in the lower in the depths of hell or the higher realms of heaven, okay, it's still these modes of vibration. The Shakti power it creates the proper signature in order to create everything around you. Now, then after that, this is on a cosmic level, and it reigns through the whole universe, right? Behind this, when it goes to what is called when it gets to the solar level, I don't like to deal with the etheric rays outside of the solar level. But when it gets to the solar level and it goes through the sun, any sun, the sun modifies the Shakti power even more to create what is called the etheric rays. Okay, and the etheric rays, I guess one of the best ways that I describe it, from after studying it for many years, a couple of decades, I describe it as solar plasmic matter. That's what it is. The sun releases this solar plasmic matter, which the ancient people call etheric rays. And now, and recently in the last decade, the scientists realized, yes, there is a blanket the whole solar system sit and revolves itself in all this solar plasmic matter, which the ancient people call Tavic rays. And these Tavic rays bombard the Earth and all the other planets. With it, it carries the Mahabhutas. And it also breaks down the Shakti power into what we call the five major pranas. Right?
I want to put the screen on.
Do we have that thing on there? Yeah. Good. We have the 5 major pranas. And these 5 major pranas actually flow with this Tavic matter to the earth. And that's how we are able, the soul is able to build. No, don't put it up. I need you to turn it on. Oh, we can turn it on later. Just stop it right there.
So you're not thinking.
So what happens is that the soul turns around and now it has all this to work with. And from there the soul builds the body that it actually builds the body that we need, right? Okay, now how does it build a body? What it does, it takes this Shakti power and it pushes this Shakti power down this thing called Shushunda. And in your packet there, you'll see a little diagram that talks about Shushunda. Well, it talks about this process. First of all, it gives you all of what I'm talking about: the spirit, the soul, the Kundalini on this first page. Okay. And here you can follow the diagram what I'm talking about here on this page. So what happens is when the soul does the same thing that the absolute did, yeah.
So the Mahabindus with the elements, they come before the pranas?
Yeah, because they are the pranas. You remember what are the principles? Did I erase the principles?
Mind, love, knowledge.
Huh?
Mind, love, knowledge,
And prana.
And prana. And then from there, the Mahabhutas come. But remember, everything is Shakti. Everything is Shakti. So what the soul does, now the soul is manifested from the spirit. The soul uses the same method that the absolute did and that the spirit did in order to create the soul. The soul releases nata, or sound. It releases a sound, and it takes this Shakti power. It takes this Shakti power that it has pulled in order to produce its body, because the soul is a manifested body for the soul. For the spirit to work through. So what it does it do? It releases a sound and push a portion of the Shakti power that it has under control down this thing called Shushunda. What is Shushunda? Anyone? Speak up.
Spine.
The spine. It's the spine region that we know of. But now Shushunda is a spine region that we know of. It's, we locate the flow or the line of force of Shushunda in our body in the spine. But understand that Shushunda is everywhere. It's everywhere. Okay? But in being everywhere, there's a special flow or line of force of that Shushunda, because even the earth have a flow of Shushunda, right? And that's a sacred place where the highest level of consciousness resides. Okay, remember that.
Is Sushumna and Kundalini the same?
No, it's not. Okay, it's where the highest level of consciousness resides. Okay, remember that.
In Sushumna or the psychic centers?
In Sushumna itself,
In Sushumna.
it's the space.
Okay, so always remember that. That's why. So what does the Shakti power does? The Shakti power the soul pushes the Shakti power in a concentrated manner down Sushumna. Now, during this time, the soul have this all awareness. It has this level of all awareness that what the adepts and the masters talk about. This state of awareness where they're aware of everything around them. That's how the soul operates, because the soul is the body of what? Of the spirit. It's the temple of God. Okay, the soul is the real temple of God. Okay, so the soul has this state of all awareness, but in order to follow the directives of the spirit, it must bring about involution. It must bring about this basic level of consciousness so that we can begin to go through evolution. Right? So what the soul does, it pushes this energy down, this Shakti consciousness that they have brought together to make Shakti consciousness, and it pushes this down Sushumna. Now, in Sushumna, we have what? We have all the major psychic centers, right? That actually controls states of consciousness. Because a psychic center or chakra is a state of consciousness. It's a state of consciousness. So it has all of these levels of consciousness, all the way down to the base of the spine, right? And just dealing with us, we have to say the base of the spine. Now, when it gets to the base of the spines, the right karmic conditions are there at the base of the spine in order to bring about this state of basic consciousness. All the right pressures are here at the base of the spine. So the soul, when releasing the word, it vibrates this Shakti power all the way down to the base of the spine, where the Shakti power the Shakti consciousness will lose its great state of awareness. It will go into this dormant state of consciousness that we live in right now. Okay? And once it does that, in the books, it says that it takes it from the whole to the not whole. And the not whole, and in Sanskrit terminology, from there begins samsara. What's that? Oh, I'm missing a lot. It's called the wheel of samsara, what they call it, or the wheel of reincarnation begins. Okay? Because in order to evolve back up, we have to go through many, many lives of reincarnation in order to become a god again. Okay, and that's what that means. So at this point, when it becomes not whole, then Kundalini is formed. Kundalini becomes the vehicle of consciousness at that point. At this point, the soul was a vehicle of consciousness for the spirit, but it was a supreme vehicle of consciousness. Okay? Now, when you get to this level, the soul creates a vehicle of consciousness or formulates a vehicle of consciousness for itself called Kundalini. And that's where, when you see the name, everybody heard of Kundalini, right? Kundalini is associated with, in the Sanskrit terminology, as the 3.5 knot. Because why? The Shakti power that's pushed down at this point, the pressures there push this Shakti power into a 3.5 knots, bringing about the basic consciousness, moving the whole to the knot hole. And this Shakti power is split up. And when it's split up, it produces a negative and positive flow of energy, which is used to bring about basic consciousness on every level. Okay? Because what happens, this Shakti power, this negative and positive Shakti power, it swings up and goes to every major chakra, and wherever it goes, it crisscross. When it crisscross, it creates a level of consciousness for you to operate on. All right, this Shakti power in Sanskrit terminology is called Ida, the negative, and the positive is called Pingala. And it's Ida and Pingala Nadis. Okay? Yeah.
So the soul doesn't actually involve itself, it involves Shakti into 3.5 now.
It involves a portion of itself, not the whole of itself. But it uses Shakti power in order to manifest itself. The spirit used Shakti power in order to manifest the soul. So even the soul is a configuration of Shakti power, of Nata Shakti power. Okay. So when it does this, when it splits up, the whole, the knot hole, which is the Ida and Pingala, which is still streams of Shakti power, streams of energy, but it's streams of energy that's been modified in order to bring about states of consciousness. So it begins to seek out its equilibrium, because why? It was whole at one time. It wants to go back to that state of wholeness. So that's why it rushes up outside of Sushumna, trying to get back to Sushumna, and it enters each chakra level, trying to seek that equilibrium, and it can't find it, but it finds something similar to it when it reaches the Andhra or Christ center here, right? When it reaches the Christ center or the third eye, it finds some level of equilibrium, because why? Because the Christ center, we know, is the commando center of consciousness. And what it does, it produces this basic state of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and feel, which produces intelligence.
But the balance at the Christ Center is reflected in the fact that it only has 2 petals, right?
It only has 2 petals.
So that balance that it's seeking, that is reflected in the fact that it only has 2 petals.
It has 2 petals, but it produces what they call the tanmatras, right? Which is the senses, the sense organs. It produces the sense organs. And the sense organs, there's actually 10 sense organs. I think I went over that for you all one time. It's actually it's more than 5 senses. It's 10 senses, and it produces these 10 senses that allow us to operate in an intelligent manner on any plane of existence that we go to. Okay. So this is the embodied consciousness. Short and sweet, right? This is the embodied consciousness. This is a body conscious of man. And it answers a lot of questions for you, right? From here, once these nadis leave, the nadis produces 240,000 nadi pathways, okay? Now, what is this telling us? What is this telling us? Anyone?
What, the magnitude of the pathways?
Well, it creates the background for the physical body and all the bodies, really. Because why? These nadi pathways that's created is you have the nervous system, copy it, right? You have the respiratory system that copies it. You have the circulatory system that copies it. And then all the bodies, the layers of the physical body is built upon these nadi pathways, right? Now, in scientists, especially medical science, they will not cure all the diseases until they begin to learn about these nadi pathways, which are actually lines of force of the consciousness. When they can map out these lines of force of the consciousness, then they can identify all the blockages. They can identify all the blockages that we have brought about through, and we went over this, through these samskaras of our own thoughts and actions. All right, which are actually, these are actually mental scars that we place on our auric fields and within the nadis, because the nadis is part of our auric field, that stop us or block us from moving forward in any direction in our life. And it manifests in it manifests as personalities, as health problems, as everything. Mental deficiency, physical deficiency, that's what these samskaras manifest. It's our thoughts and actions that mold and shape our forward movement or our backward movement in life. And these nadi pathways carry these samskaras, these seeds that, let's say if you go and do something you know you ain't have no business doing. And so that action, that thought, everything you did, it builds up and it scars the nadic pathways or the auric fields. And it hangs there and it may shrink and it becomes like a seed or a megabyte of power waiting to release itself at the proper time. To do what? To teach you a lesson. So now you're confronted again with a similar situation, and all of a sudden it sees the opportunity to manifest itself, and it comes out and it manifests itself. And then you have a decision whether to repeat the same action you did before or move past that. If you move past it, you burn that up. If you repeat it, you make it stronger to come back and gobble you up even more. You know, so that's the way it is. And all through life we're taught that. Even in all our sciences, even in mathematics, I think I told you all, if you take a -2, right, times a -2, what do we have? Huh? A positive what? Is it a positive 4?
Yeah.
Right? What does that mean?
They cancel each other out.
They cancel each other out. So the guy who's going around the neighborhood, he's breaking in everybody's house over and over and over and over and over again. At one point, by him multiplying his negative actions, it's going to become positive at one point. He's going to get caught. Police going to pick him up, throw him in jail. He's going to have time to go in jail and reflect on his actions. Okay? So now something positive happened because now the neighborhood is not being terrorized. Now he may come out and do it again, but guess what? He's going to go back right down this track, building up all this negativity. He's going to get caught again, and he's going to go back to jail to reflect on his actions. Yeah, it'd be worse. But even if he go back again, he may come out, do it again, and then this time he die and go to hell and live down there for a couple hundred years, reflecting on his actions. Then he's reborn again, and now he has the understanding that to steal is wrong. Because why? Because it brought about positive results to allow him to reflect on his own actions. Yeah.
Why 242,000? Why do we need that many gnotic pathways?
I do not know. I just know that that's what they told us. In fact, that's the number I use because some of them reduce it even more. But I can show you why they reduce it. I can tell you that. You know, but these are branches. These are the pathways of consciousness because, in fact, some documents say it's 720,000. Okay.
Are those extensions of Ida Pingala or Sushumna, or are they?
Well, I know that this right here, in order to get this, I know that there's 3 main branches or trunks. That's how they got this. But really, the authority that I listen to is actually it's this, and this produces this. So, but it's actually branches. It branches off. Okay, but it's 142,000, and that's just the pathways that it travels. You know, I mean that's like asking why we got the nerve endings that we have in our body. But if we track them, we can see why the nerve endings are there. Because why? It transmit intelligent stimuli in order to allow us to move our fingers, think, or whatever, you know, all our sense organs.
Say what you just said.
Okay, yeah. Okay, where were we? Okay, yeah. So everything in life matters. So you can see that, and all of us are moved, are shaped by our own karmic actions.
Now, is there a way that you can, someone can, like, destroy or get rid of the samskaras?
The samskaras?
Yeah, so they don't.
Yeah, you can mold. You can mold your karma every second of your day just by doing the right things. Or you can use what the yogis do and what a lot of religious organizations do. They pray. Prayer, positive, balanced prayer, destroys negative sanskars. Okay? Mantra destroys negative sanskars. Okay, so you, by chanting mantra, deep breathing destroys negative yoga. You know, yoga deep breathing destroys negative samskars because what it does, it begins to rewrite these samskars. And by educating yourself, destroys negative samskars. Okay, by more and more. I mean, you should educate yourself every day. You should learn something new every day. That destroys negative samskars.
So you say anything that places limitation on you destroys samskars?
Yes, anything that places limitation on you and give you the correct way to act and think, it destroys negative samskars. You notice people who are well educated or thinking people, they don't have a lot of drama in their life. You notice that? But how did they get like that? Because they place limitations on themselves, and they restrict themselves from certain environments and certain people and certain frames of mind. So it decreased drama in their life. You know, so that's what kills the negative sanskars. And you want to build positive samskaras so that the positive things can begin to happen in your life. All right?
Are negative samskaras themselves a limitation?
Yeah, it's a limitation in the wrong way. You know, he's talking about positive limitation. You know. Yeah, in the handouts, this talks about the tablet rays. I really need to get into it, but this diagram talks about the tablet rays. Also, this is on the meetup site in the file section as well. All the diagrams. All right. Well, let me go over the. Turn the slide back on. This slide right there. This slide right here.
Can I get full screen?
Yeah, that's what's
Okay, now the soul, when the soul built the body, when manipulated the energies from the body, this is what it did. These are the major chakras along the spine. And what it did is it deposited it created what's called the seed mantras, right? The seed mantras are actually positive samskaras. They are the original samskaras of the soul's consciousness. When the soul began to manipulate the Shakti power within the body, it spoke those Sanskrit words or letters, and within those letters are bits of consciousness. Okay, and each chakra has so many petals. So the Sanskrit language is the original language. It's the first language on earth, right? That we know of, that we're told. It's the first language on earth. It's a spoken language. It's not really a written language. We only came up with some type of written symbols or whatever in order to try to express or teach the language itself. So you have 50 petals, and those 50 petals are the original spoken words of the soul that brought about consciousness. Each letter represents a state of consciousness. Okay? So then you have a flow of prana, the 5 major pranas, which is this category right here. And this prana radiates from the sun. It radiates from the sun and is modified by, of course, the earth and the moon, right? Now, each prana has a particular color associated with it, and I put these colors so you can see. It has a particular color, and the vibration, the modes of vibration of the prana produce this color. Now, of course, all of us have studied, we went through high school and college, we studied what's called electronic magnetic spectrum, all right? So when you have electronic, which is nothing but a rainbow, when you have a rainbow or electronic magnetic spectrum, when you shine particular light through a crystal, it shows that the light have all these different spectrums in it, right? Each one of the spectrums have a particular radio frequency. In fact, it has hundreds of radio frequencies in it, okay? Now, if you think about this, they released this information thousands of years ago. How do they know about modes of vibration? Radio signals, because that's what it is, radio signals, okay? So these teachings are 90,000 years old. 90,000 years old. Don't believe what they tell you that it was written in the what do they call it? 8 BC or whatever, that's a lie. This stuff goes back 90,000 years, okay? 90,000 years. If you went to India where they teach this stuff in the monasteries, they will laugh at you if you say this was written, I think it said 8 BC. That's a lie. This was written 90,000 years ago, and they talked about these having rays, and each one of them having hundreds of frequencies, right? Now, they said when the rays hit the earth, they had 360 rays that blanket the earth, that hits the earth. And each one of those rays is a total existence, meaning that it's a realm of existence, just like this realm, this physical realm, right? Now, we're told that the base chakra, which is where the base and the sex chakra, which is where our consciousness reside, there's 118 realms of existence. 118 realms of existence. In order for us to move above this level, we have to raise above 118 realms of existence, or realms of consciousness. So just to, and all of these are and now the scientists are beginning to lean this way because they have this thing called the theory of everything or whatever. Anybody heard of it?
Yeah.
You heard of it? So now what they're talking about is that there's multiple realms of existence, but just on different frequencies. But they've been talking about this for thousands of years. For thousands of years they told us this. Now, you have the 5 major primes, and then you have the Mahabhutas we talked about, the cosmic Mahabhutas, right? Which is Akasa, which is sound and space, or etheric sound and space, right? It's the carrying agent. Because remember, sound is what?
Consciousness.
It's consciousness. And consciousness does what? What does mind does?
Constricts.
It holds things together. So Akasa is the carrying agent for all the pranas. Okay? Yeah.
Now, how are those 118 realms different from referring to the realms as level 1 or level 2?
I'm just telling you, it's there. If you look at level 1, then there must be 56 major realms, if you want to put it like that, in level 1. If you want to put it like that. All right. He created his own terminology for that.
Okay.
In order to make it, only because he was talking to an audience that wasn't familiar with this type of teachings. So you have You have the akasa, which is the carrying agent. Then you have vaya, which is actually motion. Air is motion. It creates the motion, right? Then you have tejas, which is light or fire, right? Then you have apas, which is a liquid mode of vibration. And then you have the gross vibration, which covers all of that, you know.
So when you compare it to like a liquid mode of vibration, even though it's a higher frequency, like if we're talking about vayu, that's the frequency of the heart chakra. If you were to compare that frequency in the heart chakra with air or the vibration of air here, and you see like a similarity, different but similarity.
What do you mean? I don't get it.
Because
you talking about the energy itself?
yeah, the frequency.
Yeah. You'll see that.
It's different. It's a higher frequency, but it reflects.
It's a higher frequency from the gross and the liquid.
But it mirrors in a sense.
Yeah, but it controls it too. The heart chakra actually controls these three lower chakras. In fact, when we start talking about sound, you'll notice that all the bodies are manifested through what? Through the heart chakra. Okay? All the heart chakra actually produces all the bodies. It produces the subtle and the physical bodies. Yeah.
I got a question about projection and those centers.
Mm-hmm.
When you are projecting to the lower realms,
Mm-hmm.
are you going through those two lower chakras, or are you going through the ones below the waist?
It depends on what frequency of mind or consciousness you want to take to the lower realms.
What the projectioner wants to take with you to those
Yeah.
realms. Oh, I see.
Because each chakra can produce multiple frequencies or patterns of astral matter.
Right. So you can project through the heart center and still go to. Okay.
You can project from the heart center and still go to the lower hells. But the higher you go up, I mean, like let's say if you project from in theory, if you project from the solar plexus center, make an astral or etheric projection from the solar plexus center going down to the lower hells, then you'll have more time to spend down there than what you would if you left from the heart chakra.
Because you took a lower vibrational.
Okay. Because karmic limits the time that you can spend on the lower realms.
The higher vibration.
The higher you go.
So each center, when it comes to projection, each center, on top of it being a gateway to a particular realm, it also closes you in terms of what you build that projection body with to operate with in that center.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, getting into deep metaphysics. What some adepts do when they project, if they want to go to the lower hells and they want to spend a lot of time there, what they actually do, they actually project from the body, and then they make another projection once they get on the subtle realms.
But which one will the initial projection be?
I mean,
to a high center?
Huh?
The initial projection will be
It could be.
It
Could be from a high center, and then what they'll do when they get on the other realm, they find a location where they can leave their
subtle body.
Their subtle body,
And
they
make
project
another-
again.
Oh, okay.
Until they can get to a point where they can obtain, because see, if they project and then they can't go too high. They can't go real high, so they might project on a plane that will allow them a long period of time. And then they make a projection from there and make a projection from there until they may make multiple projections.
Like we said in the last class, that reflects even in the physical. Like when I scuba dive, depending on the depth you go, you only limited a certain amount of time there because the pressure is so different
It's
the
so
lower
different.
you go.
Yeah.
And I see it
Changes
like,
the gear you use.
yeah, you have to
suiting
change the
everything.
gear you use. You gotta change the air you breathe. You know, your body can sustain that pressure down there under. And like it mimics it so perfectly.
Yeah, so that's what, that's, in order to get over that, that's what some people realized they had to do. They had to make multiple projections of consciousness. Yeah.
So you focus on, once you are projected, you focus on another chakra in order to switch levels.
No, you don't necessarily focus on the chakra. That's not good to do unless you've been trained to do that by an adept or a master. Never focus on the chakra. The only chakra you could actually put some type of concentration on is the heart chakra. And certain, but to actually focus on any chakra without the proper guidance and training, you can really hurt yourself. So if you read or study any book that tell you to focus on the chakra, run away from that book, because you can create mental illness by focusing on the chakra. There's techniques to stimulate the chakra without focusing on it, and then when you get to the level where you can actually create or concentrate for long periods of time without any fluctuation, then you can begin someone can guide you into concentrating on the chakra. You understand? Because let's say if I tell everybody, focus on the solar plexus chakra, right? And when you begin to concentrate, what happens the first thing you try to focus your mind?
Right, random thoughts.
Rabbit thoughts.
Random thoughts, right? So what are you doing? You have tucked all your concentration and you try to pin it down in one area, and then all of a sudden you have this random thought come in. That thought is a living thing.
I'm sorry, I meant after projection.
No. Even after projection, it's always techniques. It's the same way we measure things off because in order to project, you have to project. But you can be taught to project, and you'll still come out of one of the chakras
Without
focusing on the chakra. It's just like right now. As you begin to think, if I was to look at you psychically, I can see the thoughts leaping from your aura from one of your chakras. Your thoughts actually originate from the chakras, and you can see the thoughts projecting from the chakras. And once it projects, it may circle around the body a number of times before it goes out. But it projects from one of the chakras. So when you are concentrating and you don't have good concentration and your thought goes back and forth, you inundate that particular chakra with those thoughts, which becomes what we talked about, samskaras, which can mess up the function of the body in some type of way. So that's why you don't do it.
So that yogi that to go to the lower hells and stay there longer will project and then projects again. He's doing that through the chakras, but without concentrating on the chakras?
Well, an adept, I was talking about an adept. I wasn't talking about an adept can go into a state of consciousness. They can go into a conscious state of projection, right? And they can hold that focus for 12 hours without thinking about anything. So they're not in that type of danger, but they are still limited to the laws of karma. So if they go into a state of contemplation or meditation in order to bring about a projection, right? Then they form that particular body. Remember, you have hundreds of levels of astral or etheric projection. Etheric bodies.
Within you.
You have hundreds of combinations that you can put together.
Is that 360?
Huh?
What did you say?
Well, you can say 360 or more. It depends on their, because remember, each one of those levels have sub-levels. And then the sub-levels have other sub-levels. So it's really, we don't know exactly how many it is. So when they project a part of your consciousness, because there's only a shade of them, that shade only stay in existence for so long. you know, and they have to draw it back within them. You know, in fact, all magic or all things that you send out, you have to bring it back to you. If not in this life, in some life. And that's what creates our negative karma. So that's a good thing, you know. So whatever you put out there in the atmosphere, you know, try to bring it back to you in some type of way. Okay? Yeah.
So with in that chart, the modes of motion, does that mean that each one of those, that is the predominant motion or mode of motion at that level?
Yeah, that's where the central location of that power resides there. That's the central location of that power. Now, that doesn't mean that it's nowhere else in the body.
Right.
Because it's everywhere in the body. But that's the central location.
So if I were to project, say, from the solar plexus, I'd be taking on the characteristics of the Tihas Bhutas.
Not really. I mean, like I said, you can mold it and shape it into wherever, how you want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just giving you the central location of particular power. Okay? Now, of course, these are the lower realms, and this is the higher realms. And that, well, from the heart chakra up is the higher realms. All right? So the lower realms start here.
And then the lowest is obviously below that to the foot.
Down to the foot. All right. We have a diagram that talks about it. It gives the ancient names for it. The last diagram. So you can see. And you can download this on the
So the solar plexus is considered a lower realm?
Yeah, this one. The lower realms start below here, below the solar plexus down. And the higher realms start from the heart chakra up. All right. So then you have, like I said, the tablet rays. We talked about the tablet rays, right?
Yeah.
And you have these 360 tablet rays that start from the sun, and a good portion of it is, I think 132 are reflected off the moon, which creates the mental worlds of this earth. And then you have 118 that's hit the earth directly and helps to create the physical and astral realms as well on this earth. Okay?
So when you say the moon helps create the mental worlds, does that mean most of our thoughts or way of thinking is influenced by the energy being reflected off the moon?
Yeah, I mean, and then also if you notice the thing that helps us hold consciousness is water, right? So what does the moon do?
Controls water.
It regulates the water, the high tides, low tides. So yeah, stop drinking water for a couple of days and see what happens to you. You know, I'll meet you on the other side. Because why? Because it controls consciousness. It helps, controls consciousness. Okay, so those are the things that it actually controls. Let me see. Yeah. All right.
You said the lower astral realms are conditioned by the earth, but that's our doing. That's because of us. That's.
Yeah.
But typically, it's not supposed to be that way.
No.
It would stop at the heart.
In fact, the astral planes is actually a distortion. It's actually a distortion of this earth. In fact, that shows the level of our intelligence. If someone coming to this earth and they look at the earth, the highest populated place on this earth is hells. It's the hells of this earth, the lower astral realms. So that tell any type of cosmic being or alien is coming here and saying, wait a minute, I don't want to go there. Because this place is populated. The hells is the highest populated place of the earth. The lower hells and the lower heavens are where most of the population is on the earth. So and only because of our own wrong thoughts and actions, we created those, that existence. In fact, the ancient teachings tells us that that the Adamic man that was here before the race of people that's here now, right? 18,600,000 years ago, the Adamic man, he did not have a solar plexus and sex and base of the spine, major chakras. These three chakras was part of the heart chakra. So they lived from here up. They lived on the higher etheric planes of existence. And the physical and the astral planes were barren. Were barren planes. Those planes, that was the devic realms for the earth. But now that we came, the physical devic realms for earth is, of course, places like the North Pole, the South Pole, and and mountain ranges where man don't live at. Okay, so it just shows us. So we have actually created an imbalance, a karmic imbalance on the earth. And that's why that's why you find the highest mountains. Man can't go live on the highest mountains, and he can't live at the South Pole. He can barely live at the North Pole. Okay, so those areas, those are the devic, the physical devic rims. But of course, the divas live on all the rims. But those are the physical devic rims. In fact, that's one of the reasons why you have, in fact, one devic day is what?
6 months.
It's 6 months. And one devic night is 6 months. And when you go to the South and the North Pole, you have one day lasts 6 months and one night lasts 6 months. All right. So I think that's enough for today. And we can start back there, unless y'all have more questions.
Did we get into what you want to teach today? I'll just
Yeah, I think I didn't cover it as deep as I went to, but I covered it. Is there any other questions? Yeah.
You had said that all the realms span like just a few inches, in terms of separation. They're all having the same space, but over a span of like, a couple inches. Is it the same amount of inches at the length of the spine, or is it less than that?
Well,
Is that like anything?
what we were told that, okay, this is one realm of existence, or realms of existence, and this is another. You see how close they are?
Yeah.
But they take up the same space.
What do you mean they're different?
They overlap each other. They take up the same space. So of course the solar plexus realm couldn't just be right here, the solar plexus realm. No. Of course it's taking up the same space as all the hells. But it's it's on a whole different frequency. The same way right now in this room is full of hydrogen, of oxygen, which makes water, right? It also have a little bit of nitrogen in it, right? But we can't see it. It's taking up the same space, but it's on a whole different vibrational level. Okay, so the same way with all these realms. But yet, when you move your consciousness there, like I said, when you project there, when you get there, it's just as solid as anywhere. You have oceans, you have trees, you have animals, you have buildings, you have roads, vehicles on some of the realms don't have vehicles, but you have all these things. So it's still physical, but it's on a different vibration. But your consciousness has to project there in order to experience that physical level.
So the psychic center on the spine, those are just like the gateways to the.
They're just a gateway, just a portal. There's just a portal there. All right, it's to modify the consciousness in order to allow in order to allow you to experience that level of consciousness. But once you get there, It's just like this place. If you're a nitwit here, you're gonna be a nitwit there, you know? So don't think you're just gonna all of a sudden become some genius once you die or once you project. No, you may have the ability to think quicker, of course. You may have the ability to even levitate, depending on what realm you're on, you know, but, you know, you still have those basic abilities because you need knowledge and understanding in order to do what? In order to apply, you know, your skills or abilities or whatever. You have to know how to do it. Everything, you're not gonna have some download of information come to you. It's not gonna happen like that.
So when you say that the divas live in between the realms, there are realms in terms of like let's say the 118, at the base. There are some of those realms that is purely for the divas. It's not inhabited.
The divas live on a different. Let's say the divas don't live on the realms. We're going into a whole nother subject now. The divas live more on a vibrational level. And in other words, I didn't bring my water in.
Yeah, one over there.
That's my water bottle. Yeah. Then if you have water, you have a diva. There's a diva here. Okay? We have electricity, there's a diva here. The fact that you are here, there's hundreds of divas here. You know, in order to allow the energy exchange throughout with blood, oxygen, you know, water, all that, there's divas making that happen. Okay? There's a divic rim that allows that to happen. And this is hard for most people to accept. The 360 tablet rays, right? Also, you have what? 360 divas. This is the hardest thing for most people to accept. So we live on the realms of existence, and the divas live on the vibration, on the vibrational levels of existence. All right, but they are intelligence. They are intelligence, and the difference between the divas and humans is that the divas said we do not want any free will, and the human race said we want free will. And that's the human race. The human race. Oh, the human race said we want free will, and the divic race said we don't want free will. You know, we want freedom. So that's the main difference in simple terms. But it's very, very complicated. Maybe one day I'll give a class on it. It's very, very complicated. You know, and you have to be careful about, you know, well, there's secret stuff in there that you don't give out to the public. But I can give you enough information so you can understand it. But the divas, the divas, let's say, everything you do, you know, they are loyal servants of the laws of karma. You know, they're loyal servants of the laws of karma. So they make sure that the law of karma is accounted for in everything. So therefore, the fact that you are breathing, there's a diva there. You know, the fact that blood is rushing through your body, there's a diva there. You know, and they calculate everything. Let's say if you came to this earth and you were going to make 10 million breaths in your life, right? And at the end of that 10 million breaths, then you must vacate the body. There's a diva that's counting that. And make sure that on that 10 millionth breath, you vacate the body. It's as simple as that. So, divas are everywhere. They're everywhere. Okay? So the 300 tablet rays represent the divas. See? And that's why I think it was Dr. King and Alice Bailey, or the Tibetan that spoke through Alice Bailey, said that if you went to, let's say if you called a diva into your presence, let's say if there was a storm coming and you called a diva into your presence and you manipulated the energy in order to push the storm away or send the storm somewhere else, right? If you made a mistake, you die. And you die in two worlds. See? So you die on the physical plane. Then when you go to the astral or etheric planes, you die there again.
Immediately?
Immediately. Because you have to give up that energy that you didn't produce, that storm needed. Because you imagine if a storm is coming in a certain pathway, and you say, okay, I want you to alter the pathway to go somewhere else, that storm have to pick up that energy. Now we know that most storms, how do most storms live? By the heat generated by what? By the thoughts and actions of man. Now, of course, the weatherman won't say the thoughts, but as mystics, we know that it's thoughts, because thoughts actually happen in order for us to generate the actions that we made to create the heat that the storm is going to suck up and eat up anyway. So it's the thoughts and actions that storm is being fed on. So that adept that calls that diva, and he or she cannot produce the necessary energy, cannot draw down that energy from a cosmic level and push it out to that storm in the correct way, then the only energy they have is the energy trapped in their auric body. So they may have to, give up that through the initiation of death on two levels in order to produce the necessary energy it needs in order to move forward. So that's that's why it's very dangerous to mess with deviant forces.
Then what happens when sometimes people who have basically have near-death experience, they are pronounced medically dead, and when the spirit leaves their body and they say they see the light, and then they
come back?
Yeah.
Because they didn't meet that, they haven't reached that limit. It's a karmic law. You can't go past unless someone come on your behalf to extend your life. You had some adepts that actually what they did when they went to heal someone or bring somebody from the door of death, they described it as giving that person some of their years. In other words, they manipulate energy in order to give that person some of their life. But it's unless you now also let's say if you can extend this, and that's why the yogis believe in deep breath. Instead of having shallow breath, they believe in breathing deep to do what? To extend the time of the number of breaths, and we usually take, and this kind of outrageous what I put here, but we do 21,600 breaths a day. The average person, they breathe 21,000 times a day.
That's a lot.
So what the yogi do? The yogi try to reduce this. He try to reduce this number in order to extend his life. Okay. So that's that's one of the secrets. Any other questions? Yeah.
Is there a ring pass knot between the solar plexus and the heart?
There's a ring pass knot between a cell. There's a ring pass knot between an atom on this earth. all the ring past knot extends from the smallest atom or molecule on this earth, all the way up to the highest formation of life or energy.
You're not talking about the Granty knot, though, are you? Is you talking about the Granty knot?
We talking about the ring past knot, right?
Something that
you talking about Madam
limits,
Blavatsky's ring past knot?
yeah, what limits the movement because
Yeah,
you said
there's
there's
ring past knot on everything.
Okay, that's cellular.
Yeah, the ring past knot goes down to the lowest thing on this earth. When the ring past knot was placed around the earth, it inundated everything. Every living. That's the only way it can work. So we're told in Madam Blavatsky's teachings, especially the esoteric teachings that was not released until many years after she died, that the ring past knot inundates everything, down to the cellular or atomic structure of man. Now, when that ring past knot is moved, that's why you will find an acceleration of death, famine, and all this stuff, because the way the ring past knot is working now is holding up the
karmic pressure.
the karmic pattern, not only of man, but it's holding up the actual progress of Earth. So when the ring past knot is removed, then the Earth can make its movement in the higher, what they call the higher heavens. And by doing that, then you will have a vacation. Well, man would have to evacuate Earth, or he have to change or leave. He would have to change or leave. All right. And the ring past knot is this thing that's allowing us to stay here where we are now.
Just the honesty. Just the honesty.
Well, it is the ionic spirit belt, because once you filter off certain energies, then the lower energies cannot create the proper configuration that it needs to create. So I mean, just try that on anything. You'll see that. You know, on anything. Yeah.
Is there an atomic web between all the subtle bodies?
Is there a what?
An atomic web?
Yeah. That's the only way it works.
So
That's what the Shakti power is. I mean, the Shakti power works on an atomic level all the way up to the highest level. I mean, the atomic configuration is nothing but subtle Shakti power. All right? Any more? Let's go ahead and close out then.